We've also saw the numbers on Friday. I don't know which numbers. By the way, I don't even know what numbers to believe anymore. What numbers do you see? What do you see, at least anecdotally, on your end of things?
I think that March was an aberration and April is probably accurate. If I would have told you a year ago we're going to add 250,000 jobs a month, we would have been really excited about that. We look at March and it's like a baseball player hitting 60 home runs one season and the next season he hits 45 and all of a sudden you think 45 isn't good. 45 is still good. 250 is still good. March was just crazy. And so we look at this and we say the economy is still growing. There is some real issues that CEOs are worried about with the stimulus being too much, and we'll see where that goes. But there's only so much we can handle, but we should be thankful for 250,000 new jobs.
When you hear arguments being made right now about folks who don't want to go back to work, or the argument is that employers are having a hard time finding employees who want to go back to work because they're getting benefits from the government that are more effectively than what they would be paid. Does that ring true or false to you?
No, it's true. I mean, you can't discount the fact that companies are having a hard time finding people and benefits are more than what they're making. Now, we can argue for days if that means that wages for certain jobs should be higher, or why in married couples, why women are staying home to take care of kids, and it's not a shared responsibility between husbands and wives. We can make those conversations and arguments for forever. But the facts is that we can't find jobs and people are turning them down because they are getting more money from unemployment. Not everybody. I don't need to get a bunch of hate tweets and emails, but there is a large part of the population that would rather stay home and enjoy the benefits.
I don't know if you saw this, but President Biden yesterday effectively saying if you've been offered a job at a reasonable wage that you've turned down, you shouldn't be eligible for these extra bonuses, extra bonus unemployment payments. Do you believe that there's a way to enforce that?
Well, there is a formula that can exist that says if you were making X and you take a job for Y, what's the delta and what's your unemployment benefit, and that should happen. Can that happen this year with what's going on with the U.S. government managing it? No, I don't think that can happen. But I do believe that for unemployment insurance to continue and for it to be something where there's an incentivization for people to go back to work and take any job. I mean, this isn't the Great Depression. This isn't people going and flipping hamburgers who were being accountants or kids selling apples on the corner for a dime. People are still in their homes. We're not evicting people. We're not repoing cars. The government is a giant safety net right now. And I believe that for us to foresee the future, that we've got to figure out a way to redo the unemployment insurance problem.
Okay, so let's talk about it. I'll make you policymaker for the day. I mean, some of this will roll off eventually, but if you were in charge today, what would you do?
I would say that if you take a job that is 50% less than what you were making for all of the previous year, that then you are entitled to X amount of unemployment payments. If you don't take a job at all, then you're at a very small percentage of what unemployment will pay. Because there should be an incentivization for people to go and work retail, to go and work construction. We're going to have infrastructure bills passing and people to go throw a hammer. Why more men are coming back into the workforce than women. We've got to encourage people. Your job may be gone as technology evolves. And so what you were doing before, you may end up being in a customer service department versus something else. People have to realize just because you can't get the job you want doesn't mean you don't have to work at a lesser paying job. That's called evolution, and we have to adjust.
What do you make of the argument in certain cases around some of the wages that when you really look at them, you have to say to yourself, this is just not a living wage. This is too low. We were talking yesterday, looking at some of the wages in Pennsylvania. A preschool teacher, in some cases, is making under $15, under $14 an hour.
So what we're saying is, how many people can do that job? And that's where supply and demand comes into play. And if you can have 18-year-old kids that can be in a preschool and babysit kids, I'm not judging that. I'm just saying that's how it works from a supply and demand model and where that goes. If there's more people that are able to do the job, then that drives prices low, salaries lower. So right now, if we can't find people, that naturally that should increase wages. The fact that that's not happening That's an interesting problem that we're facing, and companies are going to have to. But what we really are lacking is margin elasticity in those jobs. It's not an internet company. It's not a professional services firm. The daycare can only handle so many kids, and people are only going to pay so much money for that to happen. So you only have that big of a wage to do it. All of a sudden you say, well, we want to pay our preschool teachers $25 an hour, but now to have your kid go to preschool, instead of it being, I don't know, $500 a week, it's $1,200 a week. Now you've got a real dynamic, and that's going to pull more people out of the labor force because they're not going to make enough money to cover that. That's the dynamic, and people just don't want to talk about it.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.